Welcome to ToV Live. Oh, that was so weak. But I see the red of my microphone's on high. Anyway, hi everybody. ToV Live. This is a train wreck already. Yep. Oh, anyway, I gotta unclick that. There we go. Okay. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the ToV podcast live. And Jeremy cutting out. But anyway, we have a lot going on tonight. I am Ryan, Tales of Valhalla. We got with us Sir Joe Crazy. We have Jeremy, the LSM Cullet, right here. And we have, as a guest panel on our panel tonight, is Gbizzy, a.k.a. Cody. Welcome, sir, tonight. And I didn't ask you this, so I'm just... It's one thing I forgot to ask you, Cody. Is there any you can go ahead and introduce yourself since it's your first time on the podcast, and if there's any place anybody can link with. I know you're usually in the Facebook Heroscape page, like Facebook, as well as Gbizzy via Discord. So I guess that's where people want to contact you if they've got anything else. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm Gbizzy. Also Cody. I'm pretty active on the Facebook page, so people probably mostly know me by that name. And they probably know me also on the Discord server for not knowing how to use Discord. So that's what I'm popular for there. But yeah, I mean, I mainly just post on there. I use Heroscapers, of course, but that's mostly just for events. So I'll plug that. Mars, if you guys want to check it out, Mid-Atlantic Regional Scapers. But yeah, so yeah, first time or long time listener, first time joiner, I guess I could say, or call it.
For sure.
Yeah, love the podcast, big fan, and big fan of Heroscape, and I guess that's about it.
Right.
What is the full acronym for Mars?
So it's Mid-Atlantic Regional Scapers, which there's a cool fact that most people don't know that played in the Mid-Atlantic Regional Scapers group. I've tried to pin down who named that, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet. But Mars is also an acronym for Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport in Virginia. Huh. So where I work at, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
And just a total coincidence. So I'd love to know who came up with that name, but no answers so far. But it's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Very
okay, cool.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, well, glad to have you with us tonight, Cody. We're definitely going to be talking on the podcast tonight about actually a C3V. Just a little bit about transitioning into it. Do we want to stick with original Heroscape or do we want to expand? That's something we're gonna cover tonight. We're also gonna get into a little bit of journal readings, discuss some lore. We're also gonna look at a Heroscape hero, I believe, and have some fun with that. But before we get started with that, I do have a shout out. I have I call it a social media shout out because this isn't exactly a video, like a YouTube video, but this is a wonderful piece of art, and I wanted to give this person some credit. Found this on Facebook. Actually, Joe's the one who shared this with me. I'm just like, this is beautiful. It just wonderfully done. So here, let me just bring this open, and of course I didn't check to see whether it would come out. Okay, so this someone named Melissa Hart, I believe if I'm pronouncing that right, posted this on Heroscapers Facebook. Said, I wanted to share this in the community since I had a hard time looking for Raelin fan art because it's really non-existent.
There really isn't that much Heroscape art
there. No, there really isn't. So we appreciate it when we can get it. To reference, I made this poster for my husband. It was intended to be a Christmas present, but I just now finished it. Enjoy. Now you see that a little bit, but here let me get this down, and I'm gonna bring up because I have the full download here. Let me just open this up and wait a second. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Wrong button. There we are. Look at that. Here, let me try and zoom in a little bit. That is a wonderfully done Raelin right there. Very wonderfully done. It's even got like some of the stats on the bottom here.
That's like the Hero Quest looking art that someone did. That's what I call it. It kind of looks Hero Questy.
Yeah, almost.
Why do you say that? Do Hero Quest have what does that look like?
It does have the
just,
same type of ambiance, I think, a little bit, from what I remember of Hero Quest art.
The art style of the old game, which I've never played, but I've seen, like, just out of interest, curiosity, looking at the old art style, it looks a lot like that, like Conan the Barbarian kind of looking.
Like on the cards?
I don't know about the cards, but if you look at like the box art, it has. Yeah.
There's a really specific style associated with like that, like low fantasy kind of. It's like the you mentioned Conan. Conan's a really good example. The comic book style painting effect. It looks really good. I dig it.
Yeah, no, it's really nice. So if anybody's on like Heroscapers Facebook, find this post. Give Melissa just a like and a shout out how much you appreciate it, and ask her to do more. Personally, I'd like to see other drawings done if it's possible to do, and encourage other people to do these things as well, because it supports the community and helps expand the community, makes things a bit more interesting. So always appreciate that. So thank you.
Spread the love for the game. Like this is
exactly
just so cool.
This
is wicked.
Yeah.
Well done.
I know Joe will agree with this, but I think the Marrow would look really cool in that art style, like Marrow Warrior.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much, Melissa, and hope you do more in the future, for sure, with that. So yes, very, very, very nice. Now, moving on to the podcast, let's get into Thormun's journal real quick. Let me bring this up. So we're going to be covering... Oh, and again, a quick shout out to those who listen, because we have a few people who listen on the audio version of the podcast via Spotify. So if you don't know what we just talked about when it comes to looking at things visually, that was a wonderfully drawn bit of Raelin. And if you want to check out it visually, just go to the Tales of How YouTube page, or like I said, go to Facebook. Look for that post on the Heroscapers Facebook, and you should be able to find it there. But always appreciate everybody who listens on Spotify. Appreciate you guys so much for listening. All right, let's get started with Thormun's journal entries 15 through 17. And before we start reading, I do want to and I asked Jeremy this before the stream, so got the answer. If you notice, journal entry 15 and 16 both start with the same paragraph, and we'll discuss that in a second, but basically, long story short, the paragraph should only be in 15, not in 16, so we'll read accordingly to that. So who wants to start on 15?
I can start.
All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
Also, my camera's not working, so I was trying to hit live on the camera, and it was not. It kept kicking me out, so it's just my voice for today, I think.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right. So, journal entry 15. After Jandar left, we quickly took flight, heading east towards the great castle of Ular in northwestern Ekstrom. After a half-day's journey, we were welcomed into the castle by Ular. Ular is a loyal and trusted ally, for Jandar's family and his family have been friends for generations.
All right. Next paragraph. Who would like to do? Okay, you want to do it again, Jeremy?
Yeah, I can finish it up.
Okay.
In the great hall of Ular's castle, we enjoyed a great feast. Ular introduced us to Kairi, Sayland, and Belden, and 4 odd-looking creatures, Savaris, Sonlin, Quintella, and Jordan. We asked if Olar had received word from Dorudian, the emissary sent weeks ago. According to Olar, he never reached the castle. He has been busy recruiting heroes and armies from other worlds and eras, warriors engaged in battle, usually in mortal danger and within seconds of death.
All right.
The first hero he saved from another world was Severus. Severus said to us, Ular saved me when I was about to lose my head in battle with Krug, an evil troll from my home world of Phaland. I am a Thinkalin elf, and I will fight for Ular for as long as he requires my services. Someday, I would like to return to my home, but I do not know if this will be possible.
All right. And the last one,
Cody, that's your
Cody, do you want to do it?
I actually don't have that pulled up.
Okay.
I'm prepared on that.
Okay.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll read journal entry 17. See here, our story is much the same as that of Savaris. We were ambushed and surrounded by a large squad of Anubian wolves, and just as they were about to kill us, we were rescued by Uller. We, like many other elves, have willingly joined Uller's army, but we have grown fearful that we are losing the war on Phaland. Quintella Gwen, and all 3 of these journal entries, 15, 16, and 17, was written by Quintella. Is that correct?
So journal entry 17 is Quintella's direct quote.
Right.
Pretty sure. Yeah, 15 and 16 is still Thormun.
Okay, still
He's
Thormun.
narrating and then at the very end, it's like Savaris starts to speak in the middle of entry 16.
Right. I would love to do that, but my throat right now, I think if I try to do a high-pitched Sylvaris, I don't think my throat would last it. Although, no, let me see. I am a Thilkin. How do you say that?
I always say Thilkian.
Okay. I am a Thilkian elf.
Yeah.
And I will fight for Ular for as long as he requires my services. Someday, I would like to return to my home, but I do not know if this will be possible. Something like that. That is, yeah. That voice takes a lot of work.
Honestly, amazing.
I was expecting an Orlando Bloom impression because he's known as Legolas in my house.
Right. Well, for the comedy aspect for Tales of Valhalla, I gave Sylvaris kind of like an anti-Legolas appeal. So everything that Legolas was, smooth, and everything. Sylvaris just be the exact opposite. If anybody thinks that insults his character, I apologize. I am the one voicing him, so I'm insulting myself. But it's just for the comedy and kind of gives a little twist on some of the main characters. So anyway, let's talk about this a little bit. This story. So traveling. I'm going to. We're going to Uller's territory, basically, in this.
Yeah, Ekstrom. Yeah. Ekstrom is Uller's. He's Archkyrie of Ekstrom. So he's basically leading authority, government of that nation.
All right, that was my guess. So you're going to talk a little bit of background about Jandar or Yandar. Their family and Uller's family have been friends for generations, so very close allies.
Right.
Let's see here. Uller's castle. That would be interesting to see. What else? So
yeah, it's like the one thing that I feel like we're missing is just like more visuals of what Valhalla really looks like.
Yes.
I always wanted like an Utgard, like an evil castle, just same thing, just painted black. I've seen it done. They look great, but
yeah,
for sure. Yep. Always need more terrain. Now there's lots of
on that the Cyverus Krug encounter, by the way, I believe Jeremy may know this. I believe there was a webisode, or not, maybe not a webisode, but there was a cartoon of
Yeah, it was
that
the
encounter.
it was one of the they made the animation for both. I think it was available on the website and it was also used in the commercial.
Right.
So when
Yeah.
they aired the commercial for, I think there was a campaign sometime during, I think it was Cartoon Network is where they aired the commercial first.
Yeah.
And during that commercial you see Savaris about to get killed by Krug but then summoned immediately.
Right.
And then so that frame is in two different forms of media. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It did come from the website. So
That's the nostalgia.
oh yeah.
Nostalgia.
A lot of this journal entry connects to the existing media that was available on the website because you mentioned the webisode, the lore with the Anubian wolves and stuff like that. That was the entire ongoing arc between the Order of the Crimson Sigil, who were the protectors of Quintella Gwyn, who's the princess. They were trying to protect her. They were trying to protect the Dire Stone. They were failing, and while they were getting killed left and right, Alar was saving them from the war, as it was ongoing. So that's in their bio.
Right, saving them. Yes.
Yeah, that was that, and that's the thing. That's so you bring up something really important, Joe, and that's one of the things they wanted us to think about with Age of Annihilation is the effect of the timeline. You have these Valkyrie pulling people seconds from death. It may have saved them, but how did that affect the timeline on their planets back on home? And so he made and Carmen encouraged us to think about that and what would affect how the worlds would be affected as a result of this war. And I was like, yeah, no, Phelan definitely got messed up a couple times, especially where they were pulling everybody out of that fight and they were saving everybody. And I'm like, that's not gonna do anything good in the future. But yeah, no, it's very very connected to ongoing different media projects they had for the franchise when it was out. So
Now,
I like these entries.
I'm interested. Some of these names here too. Are some of these part of what's called? It was a group of elves called. Was it the Nine? Right.
Yeah, the Order of the Crimson Sigil.
Right.
They
Was
it was the 9 wizards that were tasked with defending the Dire Stone. And the princess was the carrier of the Dire Stone. And she was trying to get away with it. Yeah, she was trying to. She was on Thericus, actually, the Griffalin. It was her and him. They were flying away and trying to get away from the wolves, but the wolves pulled them out of the sky right before they got summoned. So they don't know what happened to the Dire Stone. They disappeared before they could see what happened, and yeah, the wolves were getting pulled into Valhalla as well during the same time. So it's a really odd war result because all the victor, there was no victor of the war because everybody kept getting pulled out, and brought to Valhalla. So
I just realized this was totally not on purpose, but Thericus and Cyverus are right behind me on this map.
Nice. Yep. They're all connected to this.
I see.
That's awesome. But yeah, they Order of the 9 included, I think it was Jordan. It was Jordan, Arkmer, Olganesh, and oh my gosh, what Chargerus? Why I always forget Chargerus. I don't know why. He's the good one. He's got the cool powers. But yeah, those are all part of the 9. We never got all 9 wizards though.
Right.
But we did have one for C3V, so that was cool that they did that.
Oh,
Hadouken.
I know you're talking about.
Hadouken.
Hadouken, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I know the 9 is something that I want to explore into the future as well, because it's something that I'd like to tie into Tales of Valhalla itself, probably in the future.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, I found it very interesting. Now, do we know anything about Dorudian? This looks like someone who is a recruiter of heroes and armies. But
the emissary. No,
yeah.
They mentioned. So they actually mentioned that Jandar sent emissaries to Ular before he sent Thormun, and he never got word back on what happened to them. He said he had a vision that they were intercepted and killed. So that's why he was like, "All right, "Hey, Thormun, I need you to go instead because these emissaries are getting hijacked on the road." And Doridian was one of those
Mm.
emissaries. So Thormun was checking in and saying, "Hey, did you ever meet this, this emissary?" And Alar's like, "Nope, nobody came at the doorstep." So Jandar's vision was actually correct. Like what he saw in the future actually happened, which one of those weird effects of the wellspring was that Jandar was able to predict the future at some points of the fight. And yeah, you can kind of see how that's messing things up too. Timeline
Gotcha.
shenanigans.
A time always.
I feel like
emotional.
this could have been um, an anthology series.
Mhm.
Oh, there was a lot of opportunity to write a large amount of information for this world.
Because like I
Mhm.
just imagine like a series of short films of like all the different worlds,
Mhm.
you
Right.
know, and at the end of every single one, or not the end of it, but at some point during those ones, you see the people getting teleported away from Valhalla to Valhalla.
Mhm.
Write that down. Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's
Somebody-
record, it's
actually,
recorded on YouTube forever. So there you go.
For those that may not know, but I actually tried to do a whole fan fiction on Heroscapers.com, like back in the day, mind you. This was years ago. But my entire theme was Icaria, and I was writing about what happened on the planet when the dragons left. And like I wrote an entire scenario regarding that, and it was crazy. Like the ideas I was getting, like I mean, because they revere the dragons as gods and kings. So I'm like, what if your entire government just disappeared and out of nowhere?
Sure.
Like you have, like it was absolute chaos. And I was like, I was writing that, and it was just really cool. Like there's so many ways you can take this series.
All the dragons came from the same planet.
Yep. Well,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
before D&D was introduced.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the Heroscape dragons are from Icaria. D&D dragons are from their planets, but yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Now, I have.
Is Quohan the VC dragon? Is he from or she? Is she from Icaria?
I think they wanted to keep her in the same place because they were trying to do the whole dragon theme. And
Yeah,
so I think they did make her come from Icaria as well. I think her
that makes
lord is from Icaria. I know the new dragon's from Icaria as well.
Oh,
the bone
Calgary.
dragon.
The which one is it? The green.
Oh, oh yeah.
The recent one that just came out. Why is the name escaping me?
Caligrith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Calgary.
yeah. Caligryth is from. They wrote Caligryth from Icaria.
See, I was thinking of the unreleased bone dragon.
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah, they had Nidhogg at ScapeCon. That was such a cool dragon to look at. I was like, oh no. It's like I can't win enough.
We have Rogue Idealist in the chat saying, and hello Rogue Idealist, welcome to the stream in the chat. Says, I would love a slow burn series where the first season is just the characters fighting in their different worlds, and season 2 is where the Heroscape plot starts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Somebody write a script. Come on, write a script.
Hey,
It takes
I
time.
brought this up in the pre-show before you joined, Joe, with Ryan and Jeremy. But the first adventure, thanks to you, rolling that idea out, is going to be based on what we're talking about right here with the elves and the wolves and the Crimson Sigil. Actually, like Kosu met, I believe in his bio, that's all it really talks about is that battle that was going on. So I'm going to try and like write a little bit of that story, fill in the gaps a little bit for myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and before we wrap up this this journal entry, I was reading through this, and one thing about Silvaris saying that he is a Thilkian elf. What does that mean exactly? Do we know?
We have no idea.
Ah.
We never brought it up again.
Ah.
I think the general forum guess, because I did see some discussions about the subject back in the day. I think the forum guess was that it was like a tease on words for Tolkien, because like it's supposed to be a direct reference to Lord of the Rings.
Ah.
But that's not confirmed by Craig or anybody, and yeah, that name just kind of appears and disappears. in episode
Yeah,
9, so
I'm not
I
familiar
can't tell you what it means.
because I mean
But,
I read
yeah.
Lord of the Rings often, and some other Tolkien's works. That doesn't seem familiar to me, but maybe there's a bigger Tolkien aficionado who might point it out. Be like,
no,
oh
like
yeah, I know
the
exactly
word
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The word Tolkien is supposed to be like, people read it and think Tolkien, like that's because it's supposed to
Ah, so it's just a play on words. Gotcha.
like play on words, referencing.
What is that called again? Like anagram or whatever, like Sudema, right? It switched the letters to Medusa. I wonder if it's like that.
Craig was very big about. He said it all the time. He said it in the podcast, and he said it on the forums. It is easier to copyright made-up names. That's what he always said. So if you ever find a name that's like, how do you even say that? It's like, well, first of all, they made it so they could copyright it, and that's why it exists. After that, it's all on you. Good luck, But yeah, a lot of the names in the series were made up from anagrams or made in reference to, the source materials. Especially a lot of the earlier stuff too. You can see the connection.
All right.
I remember you guys talking about Gruts last episode. That's one that's super unique, though. I've never heard that word anywhere before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Except for
that's a very unique Craig name, which is pretty cool.
All right, and so before we close these journal entries, any other questions you guys have for this? Anything else? No, not much anything. All right. Well, then we will close this segment of reading Thormun's journal entries 15, 16, and 17, and definitely will do more in the future. All right, and hello, Marion, in the chat all the way from Honduras. I know that because I know her. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Feliz noche to you, Marion. All right, now let us get to, let's see here, what is next? We need to take a look at, yes, Marion, yeah, I know that much Spanish, but you try to converse anymore, then I am not going to understand. But anyway, thank you for joining us on the chat. Now, let us get to the next segment, which will be Heroes and Squads. And the hero we're looking at tonight is Anna Carathon, I believe that's how you pronounce the name. This is a miniature that comes from the Underdark Master set. A very interesting miniature. Let me just read off. Okay, Anna Carathon. Coming from Einar's group there. She's a human, unique hero, cleric, merciful, medium 5 height, and special. Get to special abilities in a second. 5 life, move, 5 spaces movement, 4 space range. Excuse me. Attack 2 dice, defense 3 dice, 100 points. And lots of interesting special abilities here. First one, turn undead special attack. Range 4, attack 4. Turn undead special attack can be used to attack only undead figures. Protection from evil aura. All small and medium figures you control within 3 clear sight spaces of Anna Carathon add 1 to their defense dice when rolling defense against an attack from a figure who follows Utgar. Anna Carathon's protection from evil aura does not affect Anna Carathon. And then Healing Word. After revealing an order marker on a wounded small or medium hero figure you control that is adjacent to Anna Carathon, and before using any other special powers on any army card or glyph, you may first roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 1 or 2, nothing happens. If you roll a 13 or higher, remove up to 2 wound markers from that hero's army card. So let's talk about like the stats and how to play her. I know I was like looking at the synergies of Anna. She doesn't synergize with too many. She's great against undead. And there's a few. I think there's a couple of C3V. Yeah, few C3V that she synergizes with, but not really anything OG Heroscape too much. So the question is, like, good miniature to play with. I know that she's pretty valuable miniature because whole battle for the Underdark master set is like kind of difficult to get sometimes. You know, it can be pricey. It can be pretty expensive if you're looking to get the full set. So what do you guys think about this?
My thought on that is actually when I saw this in the show notes, I went and looked at her card because I've always thought she was interesting, but I've never played her. No one that I've ever played against has played her. But you look at her card, and she's one of those characters that you love because she's thematic. She's very thematic. Like, she's a cleric. Like, her abilities match that. And I think she'd be great, again, in, like, an adventure-style game or an RPG. I think that's really what they were going for here, was, like, an RPG style. I mean, she was in the Underdark set, of course, so it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Something I found interesting, though, the protection from evil aura. I wonder why they didn't include Valkyrie in that text. It's just Utkar. Valkyrie's pretty evil, I think.
Yeah, they released this unit before they thought of Valkyrie. Valkyrie had, I think they were thinking about Valkyrie around set wave 2, if I remember correctly. And it's somewhere in the forums. When the Guru was in charge of he was liaison for Wizards of the Coast. People could ask him questions and he would explain things. And he mentioned Valkyrie was a very recent addition as of like wave 2 of that set, and they had planned him out for about a year, but he definitely came after the release of Anna, so that's why they didn't include his name in there.
Yeah.
Plus, it would have spoiled it. You know, like we didn't have any idea of Valkyrie up until I don't think hints about Valkyrie didn't come until 2010, like early 2010. So they were definitely, if they had any ideas towards it, they weren't going to do it till later. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That makes sense though.
I think if they do actually include like an errata, I think the idea would be to include anybody on the evil side. But it's like, yeah, game finished before we could establish Valkyrie as anything. So.
Right. That's why C3V is so great. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. Rogue Idealist says in the chat, I love how they convert the actual D&D spells into actual abilities. Underrated character design-wise. Yeah, I can see for certain armies to use her against. I think she would be very beneficial. I think my favorite special ability is the healing word, because you get a good dice roll and removing up to 2 wound tokens. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's not a bad healing spot just to have someone a healer. And I mean, looks like she can stand her ground, especially if you're up against like zombies or other undead figures. Might be beneficial. I mean, the only trick is if she can synergize with somebody, you know. Otherwise, it might be difficult to get her and then others across the field, depending on what you're doing. So that's I think that's the only trick, and that's probably one of the reasons why many people, and also for the fact that a little bit more difficult to get. I think that's probably one of the reasons why people don't usually use her, because of the synergy issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always, when you're playing Heroscape, you always want to move as few moves as possible, like keep everything nice and clean in one turn. So moving a full character, I mean, that in a lot of the stuff I've seen, you know, if a character is moved by themselves during a turn and don't have any like general value with the turn itself, and they're just by themselves, it makes it really hard to make it an effective play. But That's
She
why you
seems
have all
like
the squads.
she could be an okay cheerleader. I mean, two of
Right.
her abilities are passive, so you could just sit her somewhere like Raelin, you know.
Right. Right. And I think that would be probably one of the strategies is like have like an order marker on her. Starting out, move her up to a place where you know you're gonna have other other miniatures. Hopefully that and it'll be the field of play that you want to be close to, and then just keep her there, until you see fit. But yeah, anything else with these stats and abilities here that you guys see?
No, I've always wondered how her like protection from evil aura would help with like I don't know the stingers because they're all Rukar. So it's like, yo, can I just turn on or can I just pop protection from evil against stingers? Because that would be nice.
I mean, there's
yeah, you
only
probably
one
could.
shield, so it's not
Right.
like it's.
It
Not
helps.
crazy, but
Sure, it helps. Yeah, Rogadil says against a zombie army, she's great. Yeah, and that was probably be my
Yeah.
guess is the undead
Like
figures
that.
thing that would be, yeah. If you could like just build your army right when someone produces theirs, and there's just a zombie army. Okay, I'm choosing this one. Then yeah.
Well, then
Yeah, it's probably in
that's
a
the
draft
thing, though,
setting.
right?
Yeah.
Because they wanted people to play this as in a drafting sense.
Right.
So if someone's drafting zombies, then you can go, oh, I'll draft Anakara, and so that's where the counterplay starts to happen. But we don't play like that, so.
Yeah, competitive it's hard to put draft in competitive because it takes so much time
Right.
to set an army up in the first place.
Oh yeah, there's over
Yeah.
like 500,
definitely-
not 500, but like it's getting up there. As
Yeah.
of how many characters are out there.
Right.
Yep.
Draft play is fun if you have the time to do it.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
sure.
All right, let's talk a little bit about lore here, or what we can see. So your character bio, it says Anna commands the battlefield with the power of her faith. She leads her comrades in the fight against evil, bolstering and healing them while casting divine prayers that cause her enemies to wither. So just basically a dramatic portrayal of what she can do. Do we know anything else, Jeremy, about her character? I mean, definitely within D&D, but what her character is connected to Heroscape, do we know anything?
They didn't really provide any context inside the world of Heroscape itself. When she was introduced, she's in the campaign already. Like she's one of the first characters you play, so they don't really talk about her. Since you're rescuing, I think the way it went is that you had Tandros and you had Anna, but the other two got kidnapped and you had to go find them. And yeah, that was it. Like we got that bit, and then we have the bit where she's very nice towards giants in the Road to the Underdark story. But other than that, that was it. That's all they ever really wrote for her within the universe itself.
Gotcha. All right, and we got
The D&D characters don't have like solid
too much lore to them.
It's more because you've always been able to like borrow the information that comes from D&D and make your own stuff out of it. So they have all that info, so you can like build your own thing. But they never gave the Heroscape versions their own reason for being in Valhalla and stuff like that. So unfortunately,
Gotcha. We have Ryan Haggerty in the chat from YouTube. Welcome to the stream, Ryan. It says Anna does well in super defensive hero-centric pod armies. Okay, I can see that because I've played pods before. Yeah. She also does well in campaign or reinforcement type scenarios where there are rest periods, as in downtime to use her healing. Yeah. I think if she didn't have the healing, then I don't think she would be as interesting of a character. I mean, yeah, the undead figures, but I think the healing word ability makes her kind of pause to be like, this could actually be beneficial for my army, depending, So, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Let's let's go into, okay, so synergy benefits received, of course, all undead units, watch out, and that includes like the Essenwines, Death Knights of Valkyrie, Phantom Knights, Ratchets, Shades, Sudima, and Zombies. And then synergy, of course, like, she doesn't synergize anybody with OG Heroscape, at least not listed here on the Heroscaper's page, but we do have, like with C3V, Count Raymond, Eben Armor, Father Kalis, Ardyn, and then imposed, of course, there's a bunch of C3V that she can really hit good against as well, because there's lots of undead C3V characters in there too. So if you got, I guess, if you have, like, if you get into C3V, and we're going to be talking about this in a minute anyway, but I think if you're into building C3V armies, I think she would be more beneficial than it would be with OG Heroscape miniatures.
Scrolling down the page a little bit further too, you look at the power ranking. She's actually rated a little higher than I would have expected. She's
Look at this.
A B
Okay.
amongst everyone, and OEAO, he gives her a pretty big endorsement. Says she's one of his favorite characters in the game. That's pretty.
Oh, there you go. I think we need to talk to Mike about that sometime. Then that would be interesting conversation.
I mean, I could see why, but it's just very, like, to play competitively, it's very specific. Like everybody was saying, she's more of, she is a really good character that just shows off that Dungeons and Dragons style of character.
Yeah.
Thematically, she is so good.
Yeah.
But just competitively, not the best, but very, very specific on her tasks.
Rogue Ideal says 2 wound healing is huge, and I agree. I think, like I said, that is one thing, and she's got 5 life. She got a pretty solid defense. She can hold her own and still support, an army in the midst of fighting if possible. So, for me, it's a possible thing, especially when it comes to that healing, because you really don't have to do anything other than just be there. And you have to have an order marker on her, but if anybody needs healing, then boom, you make that call after every round, and try and heal some wounds. So, I could see it go both ways.
That could happen.
Yeah. Then again, you might not make that dice roll.
It's a good thing they put smaller medium figures only can receive the healing ward, because I just thought, man, actually, it would be kind of cool at Q9 or super annoying, but they didn't allow it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So yeah, you got to be careful on how to choose it, right? Mm-hmm. But yes, agreed. Rogue Idealist, definitely agreed. And anything else we want to talk about, Anna Carathon, before we close this segment?
We good, Ryan?
I think we covered it pretty good. So that is the book of Anna Carathon, researching and discussing this first Battle of the Underdark miniature. All right, now that that's done, let me give myself an instant just to, okay. So we're skipping that, and so now we're moving on to our main topic for tonight, which is, hi Arabal, how are you doing? Hello in the chat. I'm just saying hi. There's like, I don't know what that is. I think that's 2 people giving each other a high five or something like that. I don't know. There's probably some pop culture reference to there that I'm not getting, but like, I'm 40 here, I'm not gonna, old man Wilkie just.
It's the 2020 emotes. They were referencing when everyone was staying indoors, so they're in pajamas.
Ah, oh hey.
Yeah.
That's me half the time anyway. So, anyway, Arabal, Welcome to the chat as well to you. All right, let's get into our main topic then tonight. And we're calling it, taken from Shakespeare himself, to C3V or not to C3V? That is the question. Yeah, Arable says just two dudes in PJs. Okay. No, nothing deep. All right.
Yeah.
I got you, Arable. And my throat's going. Anyway, so what we're talking about then tonight is C3V, and we might get into talking about some miniatures. I do have here. I do have posted up here the books of C3V. So if we need to look up any specific miniature, we can, and show it. But what we want to talk about tonight and discuss a little bit is whether or not to actually like get involved in it. Because for me, and you guys can share in a second what your thoughts are on this. But for me, starting out, and when I started out animating with Tales of Valhalla, I was strictly original Heroscape, and that's it. You know, original Heroscape miniatures. Just for me, it was less confusing. Just trying to get in the lore of the original miniatures before not expanding to anything else that I didn't know or that I thought might be too complicated to get, because I was never into the like rebasing stuff or painting stuff. Eventually I have, and I'm getting more into it now. Matter of fact, behind me there is a bunch of bees and ants that need to be based sometime after season 3 is done. So I am getting into it, but I know it held me back for a long time getting involved, because it's like, okay, afraid of the cost, afraid of like, is it really necessary? So that's kind of where I was at, and part of me just stubborn mind thinking, you just need the original stuff. Why would you want any stuff that's made up by people at customs? What are you talking about? You know. So and Rogue Idealist says, not the bees, not the bees. Oh, Rogue Idealist, you have no idea. I got a ton. So Cody, how about we start with you? What was your approach to C3V?
Sure. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good perspective on this because my C3V journey, I guess you could call it, has taken place over the past 6 months. So I was much like you, Ryan, where I was a diehard Heroscape Classic only. But I do remember, I want to go back and say it was like 2012 or 13. You know, if you guys were around back then, you remember the sadness, I guess, on the forums. You know, everyone was like, oh, you know, it's getting discontinued after Wizards of the Coast. And so everyone was kind of let down. And I remember shortly thereafter, C3V was started up, and I looked at some of the stuff and I was like, you know, it doesn't look like the same thing to me. But then, of course, last year AOA sparked everyone's interest back up again and got my hopes up, as with everyone else. But that's okay. I actually just told someone the other day, I was like, I think it might have been the best thing that ever happened to Heroscape in a way, and specifically to me, because what happened after that was I went to a tournament in Philly that Ryan, Vidar on the forums, Vidar XLII, I think, or 3 Eyes, he had brought some C3V for people to check out, and so I think some SOV stuff too. I usually just call it VC for the blanket statement, but I saw them and I was like, wow, actually these fit in like perfectly. Like even one of the figures, Omegacron, he's a part of the Omnicron faction, and he has the same exact paint scheme, but from a totally different game as the Repulsors and Snipers.
Let me see if I can look him up real quick here.
He's I haven't got a chance to use him yet, but I do have him. But yeah, so when AOA failed and I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna see what's here, and then I went down the rabbit hole, and I went from making memes about people that play with C3V to collecting C3V in the course of about 4 weeks. So, and to answer some of your woes and concerns about it too, like yes, it can be expensive depending on what you're going after. Like some of the figures, I mean, from Confrontation and AT-43, two games that are out of print, and they're harder to find than Heroscape in some cases. But that's what you have 3D printing for. There's people that have made awesome proxies for that stuff.
There it is.
But hunting the figures down is like the fun part. It's like it reminds me of going to my LGS as a kid to look for the new Heroscape stuff, and that's like what it is. It's the C3V guys and the SOV guys have done such a good job at like providing all that stuff to us, and I think they've basically doubled the amount of characters in the game, I want to say. But yeah, I'm a huge fan, massive fan, and I just got into it 6 months ago. So if anyone out there's on the fence, if you're willing to go deep, I suggest giving it a shot for sure.
Yeah, and I would say start small, and if you're worried about like basing things or constructing things, I mean, they sell C3V stuff on eBay, and that's how I started. You know, with just getting a couple, and now I'm working on. And then I watch. Although there's not many YouTube videos on making stuff C3V. There's not many tutorials for that. So there's an opportunity for that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing some stuff because it's all fresh in my brain. I have all my tools out. It almost looked like a carpentry shop in my room here for a little while, but it's not that complicated, honestly. I'm not someone that's good with my hands at all, and it wasn't after the first few that I did. It was pretty easy. You're just gluing stuff and separating the bases, which can be tricky. I mean, you need the proper tools. I cut my hands a few times with an X-Acto knife to learn that lesson, but. Yeah.
Buy a Dremel. It helps out a lot.
Yeah, Dremels are great. Hot water's your friend as well. Makes removing miniatures very easy. But yeah.
And I'm going to just read some of the chat here. Arable says, I think generally C3V is amazing, but I for sure don't like every unit they made. But that's fine though. Yeah, you don't. I mean, unless you want to catch them all, you can, but I think that's one of the great things is you can look and see what synergize, especially like Heroscapers.com is so valuable because you can look at a miniature through C3V and see what synergizes with what on both sides, on the classic and as well as the custom things, which is invaluable to start just building armies right away. Instead of getting everything, you can be like, okay, let me just build the specific army and see what synergizes with what, and then you can just have one army and start playing tournaments right away and be spending as less as possible for what you're trying to sort through. So that's one good thing about it. And Rogue Idealist is saying priming an Omegacron now, smiley face.
Nice.
And Arable saying maybe sort by name. Yeah, because I was scrolling, I missed Omegacron. Omegacron is actually was at the very beginning of the list, and I skipped past it. But I mean,
just do the alphabet. It's way easier.
Yeah, I know. There's different ways to say it, which is nice. I think that's by name, right? Yeah.
But if you're going into it like looking for things, just go by general and just look by general and just go through like find like I love Ukar. Like I want to go find what like that's what I did.
Let's see, and yeah,
I went to go search for more Maro stuff. So.
And just to give a shout out for Omegacron, just to give some details if anybody's looking to find this, I really just looking at the stats real quick. Now, eventually, like we do with classic Heroscape miniatures and squads, we will have a playlist of C3V miniatures and squads in the future as well. We will do that. We will get to that. But just to real quickly reference Omegacron here. Got double attack, mobilization, directed fire, lots of nice little 180 points, very very huge point wise. But if you want to find the miniature for this, let's see here. They also give advice on where to find it. It says this figure used for this unit is a Mech Warrior figure from the Vanguard set. Its model number and name is MAR-2C3-A Vindication Marauder 12C. hashtag 084. All figures in the MechWarrior line containing the name Marauder 11C, or Roman numerals 11C, have an identical sculpt. So they give good information on how to acquire these, and you can look up eBay or whatever to try and find these miniatures. That's another thing I like about helping out, so you're not just totally lost on how to get these things. They do give recommendations on how to get them.
Ryan, you just reminded me of something too. I left a very important point. The second best thing, in my opinion, about C3V and VC in general is that, so next to, of course, continuing the game, second to that would be they make figures that help out lesser used figures in the original game. Mm-hmm. So like the snipers and repulsors, you don't see them too much, right? Like utilized in a competitive sense, and you probably still won't see them, but you can really make some deadly armies with a Megacron being able to move stuff around. They have like pseudo bonding, and they do that with a lot of different things.
Yeah, I'm looking at the synergies. I just scrolled down on Omnicron and see the synergies. Yeah, you're right, Omnicron repulsors. So yeah, if you're looking for like a Jandar Stolberg army, Omnicron or a Megacron might be a C3V of choice to go with your classic scape miniatures as well, to really decimate that battlefield against your enemy, for sure. Let's see here. Arable says here in the chat, I think a problem with it is that especially some of the firsts are really hard to get, and that can be an issue. Yes, it's but the great thing about that though is there's a lot more 3D printing going on. Sure. And you're having a lot more creators creating STL files of these of sculpts. So eventually, I'm sure there's going to be stores in the future to where you can start getting sculpts of if not the same design, good looking proxies to these C3V miniatures. I'm sure people are looking into it and designing those things as we speak, or getting really close to it. So I think that's going to help level the playing field with that and get people more into even older C3V miniatures as well. So hopefully that'll be a good fix. Rogue Idealist also says VC is great at boosting underused units and filling in lore gaps. For sure. I mean, when it comes to the lore gaps, and for me as a visual storyteller, I'm trying to make something in the sandbox of the universe. I don't want C3V involved with some of that. That's again why I tend to go classic scape when it comes to Tales of Valhalla. But I can understand when it comes to like playing the game and just having fun, because that's one thing that inspired me when it comes to Heroscapers.com is the fact that you have tons of people writing stories and short stories about the Heroscape universe themselves, and we've even read some. Shout out to Ryan Haggerty out there in the chat, and plan to read more. So that really inspired me from the beginning. But my question to myself was like, well, okay, everybody's writing stuff down, but is there anything visually that we can see of that? No, not really. I'm like, okay, I'll do one myself. But yeah, there's lots of lore information on Heroscapers.com as well. Arable says, who cares about lore? Well, some of us, I know some of us just want to play the game, want to win them tournaments. Awesome. But some of us, want to go a little bit deeper as well. Those of us who reads like Lord of the Rings like bi-yearly, we just like to have that type of fun.
This is a lore podcast. Time him out. Someone time him out. Jeremy, time him out. That.
I don't think anyone's in mod.
Kick him out. No, I mean, It's one thing I like about this podcast, though. We tend to, I mean, we don't claim to be experts on playing the game. At least I don't. These other guys are pretty good, but so we do focus on lore, but we try and also, talk about the stats, talk about the gameplay, and bring in people who know a bit about that sometimes as well, just so we have a nice little mix, in it. But anyway, back to this, back to the C3V line. I think one of the hurdles in this as well is I think a complaint someone might have is that it's just too much. It's just too much for me. It's like Classic Escape. Okay, I can focus on that, but I think someone might also say is just get overwhelmed easily. For that. Now, I can think of some solutions in my head already, but what do you guys? How do you think you would respond to someone who might say that?
Okay, here's a question for you. For that person in this hypothetical, how much of Heroscape does that person have already? I mean, Heroscape Classic already is enormous to collect. So to say, oh no, I gotta collect more, it's like when it comes to anything, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, collecting this is part of the game. Heroscape is collecting. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And I think another good point too is Heroscape itself. It encourages you to make your own customs. They might not be official customs, but that's one of the beauties of Heroscape as being this type of sandbox is the fact that you're practically encouraged to make customs yourself. My son, he's got these little dinosaurs, and other little like miniature type objects, toys across the house, and I'm just like, someday we're probably going to base those things and come up with stats, so you can just start putting them on the on the battlefield. Sometimes it's just it inspires that imagination in you, to create that stuff.
Yeah, and I think the legend, Craig Van Ness would agree with you on that. For sure. I mean, he's endorsed I'm pretty sure I've heard him endorse the C3V project. And one thing I'll say too, if anyone out there is worried about like the amount of work, or you look at VC and you're like, oh, these are just customs made by some person or some group. I've gotten one of the things that led me to start my collection was meeting some of those people and talking to some of those people. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Dadscaper on National Heroscape Day last year, and this was before I got into C3V, and this was when AOA was still alive, and we all got to sit around and ask him questions about the design process and his process of working on stuff. And he was part of the C3V team. I think he just stepped down recently.
Yeah, he did.
But the people that are in that group are the real deal. I mean, they're some heavy hitters for sure, and they know what they're doing. They make some great stuff. And I would say in some cases better than the original. Now, they do miss every now and then with like balance, like with the Cathar Spearmen, for example. They're notorious. Quohan, kind of, but that happens.
I got me a Kohan that needs to be based as well too. So from you actually pointed me in that direction too to get one of those.
Oh
things. So I got me one. But yeah, Dadscaper, wonderful guy. He's been on the podcast a few times. Always lovely talking to him. Ton of information from him. So yeah, I'm sure he would endorse everything you just said. Rogue Idealist says in the chat, basically in parentheses, nods understandably behind piles of miniatures. I don't have really any figures. Okay. So yeah, there you go. Arable says, do you all have a favorite and hate C3V units? For me, I love red ants. Ooh, yeah, those ones. And hate the Cathar spears. So, okay.
Hate is a strong word. That is a strong word when it comes to here. I mean,
dislike.
That would mean
kind of like,
I don't know what these characters do.
Kind of like, I'd rather not. I'd rather go with this one. More like
That's what hate means to you? Hate is like I'd rather that not exist at all.
Like I hate the Mars Stingers. You know?
Right, exactly.
Or the 4th Massachusetts line.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So okay, how about we go around and answer that real quick. Cody, let's start with you. Just what comes out top of your head?
That's such a good question. There's so many that I love and so few that Okay, so we'll start with the dislike. So what you said earlier about some of the VC models, and this isn't even a design thing. The look of some of the models aren't my favorite. One in particular sticks out in my mind. Is the Zedian infantry, because they're just super battle droids. And anyone that's ever seen Star Wars, or anything about Star Wars at all, you look at that and it's like, that's not a Zedian, that's a super battle droid.
Oh,
so
yeah, there you go.
I'm telling you right now, Cody, paint them. Paint
Yeah,
them
that's
full
what
on
I would
black,
say.
and then give them like red dots and stuff. That's what Glenn did for ours, and I don't even see them as super battle droids anymore.
Well, I didn't think about that. But one thing I did do, I'll plug this. Dadscaper has an alternative sculpt post on Heroscapers specifically for C3V, which is great if you're trying to find stuff that's rare, but it's also great if you don't like the look of something. So, for example, he has on the alternative sculpts, they kind of look like, if you've ever played StarCraft, they kind of look like the Marines from the Terran faction, but a little more robotic. And they're Reaper minis, and I just ordered some. And obviously, if you want to go this route, then you're gonna have to learn to paint, which I'm gonna be learning how to do here soon. But they look more like what I imagine a Zedian looks like. But also, same thing with the Sentinels of Grax. I'm not super fond of their sculpts either. They look a little too cartoony for me. But I mean, I did see them in person at the last tournament. They didn't look too bad, but I'm thinking something a little more ghoulish because they're animata or whatever.
I mean, they're not bad. But yeah, HeroClix. Okay. Yeah, Galactic
You're looking
Grax.
at the Sentinels?
Yeah, Sentinels of Grax, yeah.
They're not terrible. It's just the weapons are so yellow. I guess I could just paint them. But
those would be easy to paint, really. Yeah.
But design-wise, I mean, I haven't played through all the C3V stuff yet, but there's nothing that I would say that I hate. Definitely nothing I hate, and not really anything I dislike either. It's just more Heroscape, which is awesome. I'm trying to think in terms of a favorite. I love all the Valkyrie stuff. Valkyrie's my favorite general, which may sound like craziness to some people because.
Oh no, I've seen like ScapeCon a lot of Valkyrie, like classic Scape Valkyrie miniatures. I'm like, how did you get those things? But yeah, people play them.
Think my favorite would have to be. Probably it's like a grouping of characters, but I love Morgoloth, the single character. He's awesome, incredibly hard to find. But it's just happened this past week. There's a company or a guy that's producing super rare confrontation minis in metal. I believe pewter. They look freaking awesome. I mean, I don't know if you can pull a picture up of that. It's on the Discord in the trading thing.
I think it's been on the Facebook too.
Go on Discord or Facebook for that. But yeah, I can't bring that up at the moment. But I mean, this is what I mean. It looks like via the Heroscaper's very very nice looking miniature there. Confrontation. Confrontation miniatures. I think those are one of the toughest things to get because confrontation is such an old game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember playing that and reviewing that long time ago.
I think.
But yeah, it's a nice.
So Morgoloth would probably be my favorite, probably single character. But I love the whole. They have the whole faction of like Morgoloth. They got the Skull Demons, but also the Acolytes of Vorongrad, which I love the theme of them. They're so cool. They do like a blood summoning ritual for you can do it to summon demons or whatever, and that's pretty cool. Like if a demon doesn't. I think it's something like if the demon you summon doesn't wound a figure, and you can bond with them, the acolytes bond with the demons, then you have to sacrifice one of the acolytes. It's pretty cool and thematic. Yeah.
And these are Pathfinder. Okay, Pathfinder miniatures. Interesting.
I will say though, don't go looking for the acolytes because I found just about every VC figure out there, but those are incredibly difficult to track down. I found a website in Denmark that might have some. That's where I'm at. But they're cool.
Let's see here. Let me catch up on the chat real quick. Let's see here. Arable says, I guess hate is strong, but I just don't like facing them. Right. It says Sentinels have cheese weapons, but the gameplay is really cool. Rogadilla says Viceron, the Blood Knight, isn't my favorite. Really like Murden and Van Nessing. Arable says the 105 point cost on Van Nessing bugs me more than it should. Arable says confrontation, especially everything from the RAM or the RAM army box, is especially or basically impossible to find. Yeah, I would see how that goes. It's an old game. Arable said I had a look with the wolves and tree guys, and then I had luck. Okay, I had luck with the wolves and tree guys, so I got lucky finding those miniatures. Okay, interesting. All right. And was that it, Cody? I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. If I would suggest, if you guys are into like anyone out there you're thinking about C3V, go check out some of those designs for sure. And if you're worried about the minis, like I said, there's plenty of people out there. There's a lot of creative people in the Heroscape community coming up with solutions to these difficult to track down miniatures.
Practically as we speak. And Joe, go ahead and name your choice, your C3V of choice.
You mean the NIDS, the only thing I ever talk about on the podcast?
That was going to be my guess. let me bring them up because I like these guys too.
They're like so annoying to deal with, and it's like obviously they're not great for taking out like squads, but they're main.
Things? I was like, I'm trying to find them.
They're G. Look for G.
Oh, right. G. Okay, G.
Gnid.
Still can't find it. What's up with that?
It's under M because Morrow.
What?
Oh yeah,
Morrow.
Morrow.
They're Morrow Nids.
Oh yeah,
The
okay.
Morrow Nid.
Okay. Gotcha. Wait, I still can't find it. Wait, oh no, there they are. There, got them. There are those little guys. Yeah, ain't they beautiful? Yeah.
How perfect is it on the? They look exactly like Morrow.
Yeah, they
so
do.
cozy.
Yep, absolutely.
It's literally almost like if confrontation was still going on, like we would put them out of business. We would just buy all of their units.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna like count my chickens yet, but I believe I have like at least like 4 squads of NIDS in the mail coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, Rogadale says NIDS are great. Use them with Wusagu. Is that Wusagu? Or I didn't mean to say something else.
Wusaga.
Yeah, Wusaga. Okay, for fun times. Yes, absolutely.
Snake cardboard.
Yeah. And Joe, okay, so yes. Okay, we know you love. What do you hate? What would you rather just throw
Nothing.
in the trash? Okay.
I love everything in the C3V and SOV. I don't have them all. Maybe I haven't found the one I hate, but I love everything that comes out of this. It's incredible. I love the work.
I second that.
It's more Heroscape. God damn it! Come on. That's there's no reason not to do it. Really. At least I hope to live in the future that I would go to a tournament or go to EscapeCon and there isn't a only classic section and an only C3V section, and it's just Heroscape. That's it. We command what Heroscape is today. Community. So
Yeah, most of the tournaments anyway in this area. I don't know about up in the MCS where Mike does his events. Do they use VC as well, right?
yeah, but like I said, it feels like every other event. You know, every other event has been, at least for the past 3 I've been to, it's been every other event that's either VC, non-VC, VC, non-VC, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Right now, that's fine. I hate that's the case, but because I don't have a lot. So I like using the VCs when I can because I just have a good chunk of them as well. So, but I get it. But like I said, I just hope to be in the future where we don't have to separate everything like that.
Arable says confrontation is not only rare but also brittle. Unfortunately, always have to be careful in handling them. And yeah, and I think this is where 3D printing is going to be coming in real handy when. And again, all those aficionados out there who can make STL files of miniatures, or similar miniatures of these C3V, you're gonna have people buying stuff up if you're able to, even just to get the STL files, or even just print them out yourself and then distribute them, or sell them. I'm sure you're gonna have buyers like right away if you do that type of thing. All right. So Jeremy, how about yourself, sir?
All right. So, I have a weird history with C3V, not in a bad way, anything like that. But I was actually one of the first fiction writers on the team. I was asked to write the bios of the characters that were introduced in Thormun's Reprieve, and I was only able to do that for about a year until I left. I left the United States for a couple of years, and so I wasn't able to contribute during that time frame. And when I came back, there were so many different units that I was so lost and confused. I kind of, because in that time frame that I was gone, they had made a bunch of new units, which was super cool. I'm super excited that they kept going. But I definitely, at that point, lost track. And then recently with Age of Annihilation, it got me back into, all the fandom circles and stuff like that, and pulling up what was going on. And yeah, they're at wave 27 now, and I'm I missed out on a lot. Real life coming up and everything like that. And before I knew it, it was oh yeah, guess what? It's already been 10 years. It's what? So, my history with C3V it's weird. But I wrote the bio for Van Nessing, so I have to say Van Nessing is my favorite. It's one of my favorite characters to write for. And when they were concepting him, of course, the cross between Van Helsing, right? The vampire hunter of the story, and just that reference to Craig Van Ness, that was just really fun to write for. So I'm a little biased. Every time I've been asked, I'm Van Nessing is great. Not only was it fun to write for and the concept was cool, I hear he's pretty good on the battlefield too. So I'm hey, let's go. The character I wrote for is competitive. I get to see him pretty often. Saw him at Escape-On. I can't really say I have dislikes in terms of characters. Like I said, I haven't really had a chance to play most of them. But I do know I got completely destroyed by a group of, it was a squad unit that bonded with Jotun, the giant, one of Ular's, it was the giant from Ular. And I forgot their name, but when they were drafted, they destroyed me utterly with the power of that giant. And I fear them greatly. I don't know which group, it has to be either Ular or something like that.
That's the Dreadghoul Raiders, I believe. I think that's what.
Dreadghoul? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, oh man, they came in because it was that oh my god, what was it? It was the swap.
Oh yeah, look at them guys. D&D minis.
And
okay.
we were. Yeah. The
Dreadful Raiders.
The Dreadghouls destroyed me. They yeah, the giant hero.
Oh, Berserker Charge. That's nice.
Yep. I drafted Jotun, and and we switched armies, and they took my yoke
Oh,
and added the Dreadful Raiders to it, and yeah, I was dead. I couldn't do
yeah.
anything. I had, I
Giant
was,
hero you control, yeah, with bonding. Oh yeah, I can see why that would be fun to have.
I died pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no.
I'm the only reason I say dislike Dreadful Raiders is because they destroyed me on Escape Con. But that's it. I don't. It's not bad design. It's nothing like that. It's just
Mhm.
I'm petty, and when something hurts me, then I wish it was the same because it took away that win from me. Evil Dreadful Raiders.
Oh yeah, no, I can see
Yeah,
that for
that's
sure.
I definitely I need to I know I was talking to my friend about it and he was interested. I gotta get my hands on some of these C3V units and actually play them in a proper game. I've just never had the chance. So aside from EscapeCon of course, it was one of the first time I actually saw a lot of these in play and it was pretty cool. Great introduction if you ever get a chance to do any of the events that these escapers create, the big events that they run. Highly recommended that you visit them if you have the chance because they give
Right.
you a good insight on how these characters work. Um, and you can kind of see how the design. You can see the thought process that went into their design because you can see them on the playing field. They do a really good job. So the design process is great.
And by
Right.
the way, the Dreadful Raiders are mentioned in the OG Heroscape lore, I believe, on Thorgrim's bio, maybe. I think.
They
I'm
were
not.
Valgard is their leader, and
Yeah,
they were attacking Thorgrim and his brother Finn and Elgrim, and yeah, so they're the opposing faction to the Tarn Viking warriors or the
yeah,
Dreadful Raiders, and they have their issues with each other, but on Valhalla they're teammates because that's what happens when you mess with time, I guess. But
yeah. They also bond with Guilty McCreech, which is why they're one of the favorite. I won't say favorites, but they're pretty good. You
nice,
throw
yeah,
a 30-point range double attack range figure in with a bonding
with the
squad.
bonding, yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem.
And we have in the chat Mark Campbell saying Cody, giving a shout out to you. Hello, Mark. Thank you for joining the chat here. And here, I'm just gonna give it real quick. And he said, "See, just look at Van Nessing real quick. Nice little miniature there, Dungeons and Dragons miniature. Yeah, I can see how that yeah looks like a very interesting miniature there.
Yeah, this was a very fun character to write for. I was very happy
Mm-hmm.
when I got to do that project.
All right.
Yeah, I actually have that figure. He's really cool looking too. Like just
Yeah.
a really detailed miniature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the D&D miniatures are pretty good, pretty fun. All right. So how about now I'm not quite as knowledgeable with C3V, but I'll tell you what I consider my favorite at the moment, and it hasn't been mentioned yet. At least not for this question. So let me find real quick. And like I had the opposite effect than Jeremy because I got destroyed by this miniature and the army it was with in ScapeCon last year. But when I got destroyed, I'm just like, ooh, I want this one, and that is Kohan. Nice little dragon. Goes with your spiders. As well as like I think Kohan, spiders, and Waverin is a nice little army together. So yeah, and very valuable. Like a based a Kohan with like a card, a playing card. You can sell on eBay, or I've seen it listed on eBay for a ton of money. It's crazy. So very valuable miniature if you can acquire it. But yeah, that's the one I
Do you
got.
have spiders, Ryan?
I'm sorry.
Do you have the spiders?
Oh, do I have spiders?
Yeah.
Have you seen season 2?
I don't remember them being in the season though.
Oh yeah, I made like 6 spiders look like 30 or
Okay.
100.
Well, okay. Well, then if you have 6, I think that might be enough. Might be
That's
enough to
fine.
play with.
Yeah, no, I actually got more than I got a little bit more than that. But and the funny thing, I think one of the most valuable miniatures I have, and it's the one miniature that my son, one bit of miniatures that my son always wants to play with. It's like, oh, spiders! I'm like, no, stay away, stay
Oh,
away.
jeez.
A 4 or 5 year old, you do not want to have a 4 or 5 year old handle your miniatures at all. Yeah, they will find a way to break them.
I'm still processing what my game plan is going to be when I have kids in the near future. What I'm going to have to do to be like, you guys can look. I'm going to move them around for you, and then when you're old enough, we can play.
Pretty
I'll
much.
give them some.
Actually, a great thing to give to toddlers is the Morrow Hive, because that thing is unbreakable. Trust me, I've tested it. My son, when he was a toddler, he always loved like beating around the Morrow Hive, and he still likes to grab it, and it's great because they just look at it, it's like, and yeah. And anytime he loves to get in the terrain out, I mean, just the modular terrain, I mean, he loves it. It's just he's not quite old enough yet for that. Let's see here. Don Predator 77 on the chat saying, yo, what's up, boys? Hello, Don Predator. Good to see you.
What's good?
Let's see here. Rogue Idealist says, I buy cheap army men and use them as sacrificial decoys. You mean for like the kids? Yeah, well, I mean, my son has plenty of toys and stuff, miniature toys to destroy. So, yeah, I just make sure everything else is just boxed up, and he looks at them, but it's like, no, can't touch it. Gotta learn how to roll them dice first. All right, and wait a second. Okay, not that. Okay, so now, and then when it comes to dislikes, I have something that it's a dislike because. It's something I want, and either like I can't find it to base them, or they're just too expensive on eBay, and I just want to point them out real quick. Here, hold on, let me find them. I mean, there's a ton of C3V that are just so interesting. Red Ants of Onstrom. Let me just bring them up here. I mean, there's another squad of ants that got released, I think just recently as well. So I have those behind me. I have the black ants, but not the red ones. The red ones are extremely hard to find. So what I might do is take some of these ants and just paint them red, and then just use them as proxies.
I just found those thanks to Boromir 96. He posts on the Discord. He always knows where to find stuff. But anyway, I had posted that was one that I was looking for, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's a specific website. I'll send you the link.
Yes, please. Please do.
You can post it in the description or whatever. But there's a specific website that they're moving warehouses, I think. But you can still order from it. But Boromir told me that they've gone on sale for like 60 to 70% off. So you can get some pretty cheap. Maybe not as cheap as the fire ants that you're talking about, but you can definitely get them.
Oh, you mean the black ants?
Yeah. The red ants are a little more.
Yeah. The black ants. I got a ton of the black ants. It's the red ants that I want. It's the red ants that I just can't find.
Yeah, those I did get. I got recently, and they're actually they're pretty detailed for what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'll send you that link.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate them. And yeah, red ants, and usually it's this year they're from the Dungeon Crawler Minis figures from the Omen set. The name of the figure is Giant Ant. Yeah, and yeah, I'm all about the bugs. I'm all about the insects, the bees and stuff. Let's see here. We got, oh my goodness, just the chat is just alive tonight. Here, hold on a second. Okay, Chad Paris. Welcome, Chad, to the chat. It says, Anna, super situational. She needs some passive support to be used in a game other than the dungeon crawl. And that was our hero that we were talking about earlier tonight. Yes, super situational. And that's what we kind of summed up too. Don Predator 77 says, has ChatGPT made the story yet? Don Predator, we are actually going to be shelving that. So basically leaving the cliffhanger until probably next podcast, because unfortunately Jason could not join Rockrobotics could not join us tonight because he had some technical internet issues tonight. But so the story, it's there. We have it. We have it ready to go. But it's probably going to be next podcast that we're going to do that. So thanks for asking, Dom Predator. Arable says, I use the Exultia Ant Minis for both of them. For gameplay, the Red Hands are cooler. Just doing 10 squads and have an army. Yeah, I know. That's one thing I really, yeah, I just for some reason I have a thing. I mean, I like a variety of armies, but the insects are just really appealing to me right now, especially with the queen bee. I can't wait to base her and all the other drone bees. Yeah. Come ScapeCon time. Gonna test these guys out for sure. So yeah, so that is basically the answer to the questions here. And for this main topic, when it comes to getting involved in C3V, I would say if anybody is hesitant about doing it, like the same hesitations that that we were talking about here, just start small. I would say to not get overwhelmed, just start small. Just look for something that looks appealing, that you can synergize with what you have currently with armies. And just go there and don't do anything further. And I almost guarantee you'll start getting more and more towards it. It's just going to be like, oh, just give it all to me, and you'll just fit right in. So that's what I encourage someone to do. If you want to stick with Classic Escape, that's no big deal. That's fine. If you want to do it, great. But I think once you start just doing a little bit at a time, with the customs and see how much work the community has put in to create these customs for us to use, not just for our personal use and our personal games, but as well as for tournament games, to make them tournament worthy to use. They all of them, and anybody who's been involved with that process should be applauded, and just thank you guys so much for doing that, to keep this game alive and going with that. So and anything else do I say before we switch off this main topic of C3V? Definitely C3V is something we're going to explore in the future for sure.
So I kind of want to go back to where Cody was talking about, meeting Dadscaper, and like there's this trust within the community, because I would have assumed that this conversation would have been very different, because I would have thought, coming from people that are Classic only, grew up with the entire Classic, and then all of a sudden some randos on the internet say, hey, we're making a bunch of customs, do you want to play with their customs? And then you go, what the hell are these guys? What is this going on over here? And that's what I would have thought would have been the big issue with going into customs. Like, who are these people making customs, and why should I care?
Yeah.
And because I look into, I recently did a podcast, or I should say a stream, where I did some more research, and there's a bunch of other groups on the internet, making customs or doing this, different making different characters for the games. And I think to myself, okay, well, I love the C3V, I love the SOV, I've learned a little bit more about them, and I know who they are, and so I have this trust. Who are these guys? And why should I care? And so it's obviously, it's one of those things where, if starting off slow, I could imagine in the beginning, it would have taken people a long time to really be like, okay, let me now that there's been so much out now, and I think because there has been this huge community uproar with people saying, okay, yeah, the Valhalla customs, like, this is serious business, and people are getting into it now. But as a small group in the beginning, I think, yeah, that would be really hard for people to get into, and think about like what, what's this all about.
Yeah. And what you said in the beginning, Joe, is exactly how I felt for years, for 10 years, until AOA finally pushed me to the edge. So I was like, okay, I got to find something here. And man,
Because if you know some of the people that worked in the C3V and the SOV as judges or creators, and they were hired to work on AOA, they must have been doing something right.
Yeah.
Right? And so that would have been, that to me is the huge push. So if you weren't playing or collecting the Valhalla customs then, you definitely should be now because of how AOA turned out, regardless if you like the characters that came out of AOA or not, and how they play or however you may feel about that, that to me would give me a huge push and a trust to trust those people. Because even though there's a lot of, not everybody, it's not like everybody from the C3V was working on AOA, but even so, they definitely handpicked people to even play test, the play testers too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that to me is really interesting. And so now looking into the new groups that are out there, you just got to do your research.
All right.
And like I said, reach out to them, talk to them. Yeah, that's a huge thing too. Because even now, people that at the end of AOA, people coming out trying to make customs for the characters that we didn't get. And so your first thought is, who are these guys? And why should I care? And all you have to do is just, reach out to them, talk to them, get to know their process. And even on the website, the C3V and SOV, they have huge forum pages talking about what they do, what they're all about, their mission statements, their process, and it's like all you have to do is just read through that and go, okay, I thought I knew nothing about this. Now I really know nothing about how to make a custom. It's like a huge process. Mm-hmm. Especially to getting something on that list that Ryan was showing you earlier.
Right.
Especially with the Soldiers of Valhalla, which is more of, you submit a community it's a community portion, to, like, you yourself as a viewer can make a custom, submit it, and they'll probably tell you no. But at the end of the day, the people will help you to make it a yes. Not to guarantee it. I'm just saying, like, at least there is the customs that are as a continuation of Heroscape, where they left off, and then there's the SOV, which is taking in submissions from the community, which I think is so awesome.
Yeah.
Because shout out to Sir Heroscape, because he's got his own custom in there. So Ryan, we gotta work on something. We gotta get a character in there.
And piggybacking off of that, Joe, I always forget what the name of the specific post is on the forums, but if you dig into C3V and SOV, the SOV workshop, like you said, is open door, so people can see that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
On the outside, and you can go through, and there's like 600 pages worth of the judges going through and telling you why this doesn't work or what does work. So you can go in there and do your research, and you could probably come up with something pretty quick.
Yeah. I might have to do that Thursday. Thursday morning on my stream and kind of go through that and learn, because I do want to. I now was able to finally play test a Maro custom unit the other day. And I'm like, you know what? I think I might want to try to move forward with this and, do more research and figure out what works and what doesn't work, and, and then retweak it so then I can replay test it again. So that might be a good learning experience for sure. But yeah, even if, if you have any trust issues, like there's a long line too. Like I can imagine anybody wants to put in, a custom, it's a long line.
For sure. Well, again, that's the beauty of Heroscape, because it's a huge sandbox and you can literally make anything a custom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what inspires the imagination, though, and especially the technical side of your imagination to try and make something. Let's see here. Okay, more comments here on the chat. Don Predator, right? Mark Campbell says Cody representing the Eastern Shore. Yes, he is. Yeah, it's great having you on board with us, Cody, for sure. Tonight, I've been in communication with Cody for a little while for different things. But it's good to actually see him face to face a little bit. And I know probably come August, I think you're going to be in ScapeCon, so we'll definitely have a chat then at that time in person. Don Predator 77 says, the only customs I have is Cal the Smuggler, Omegahron, and Ashidulu. They are so fun. Yeah, that's one thing. It enhances the fun of everything as well, too, because it's stuff that you might really not so familiar with, and so you got what matches and what synergizes with what. That's one of the beauties of C3V as well. Rogue Idealist says it took me 4 years to realize how great VC is. Yeah, I think that's some of us as well. Arable says, by the way, since AOA had squads with multiple wounds, are future VC squad designs going to have multiple lives as well? We will see.
I hope so.
We will see.
I hope.
We will see.
Sorry, but I hope that because of the different things, for example, 5-figure squads was also a brand new thing from AOA.
Yes.
I hope VC will take this stuff in consideration. And try to introduce those elements as well, just to open the doors, as well as introducing things that are unpainted, because there's so many more unpainted things in the world than anything else. And I know everyone hates it, but hey, there's so many cool figures. Get over it. Cody, you're saying something?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, yeah, I remember when going on that painting tangent. I remember when finding out AOA was coming back and there was gonna be no painted figures. I'm beating a dead horse here, but a couple weeks goes by and then I was like, that's actually a great opportunity to learn something that I love coloring. Color books, whatever. I love coloring when I was a kid. I love drawing. So it's just another creative endeavor to get into. And honestly, it's not that bad. I actually painted the trophy behind us right there. That was more rattle can than the actual putting a brush on it, but that's coming soon. So yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think going the direction of unpainted minis opens the door to so many possibilities.
And it turns it into more of a hobby game rather than a game for kids. It still can be for kids. It's actually something that would be for kids to learn and grow and how to do things with their hands and their minds. But it's just, I mean, it transcends from just being an open it and play right away, which was beneficial, but also to something that can be more of a hobby as well.
And when it comes to one of the mission statements of the Valhalla Customs is accessibility. Mm-hmm. How easy can you get something? Mm-hmm. And I think with a lot of the 3D printed stuff that's out there, that a lot of the cool models that are on Etsy, they're pretty easy and cheap to get. So
let's see here.
Look at that as well.
Chad Paris is here saying something. NGC will be using 5-figure squads. And I know NGC is something that we do need to discuss sometime in the future, because I mean that was a big boom like a couple weeks ago. I'm like, wow, okay, that's something happened.
Yeah, some huge stuff over
there.
Yeah. Huge undertaking.
Yes.
That's
So
for sure.
so we do know you guys are out and around doing that stuff, and we are keeping an eye on you. VC has said they aren't using any of the elements introduced by AOA. That is specifically why NGC exists. VC has a vision of delivering the concept of the original release as closely as possible, which is why they have said they won't make the movement to unpainted minis until much later. Well, thank you, Chad Paris, for those comments.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know that we are way over time with this, but it's fun discussing this. But anything else? I'm not going to just shut us down right at the moment. But anything else we want to talk about C3V about? of course, about wanting to get into it, or to be or not to be with C3V. That is the question. Anything else we want to talk about with that?
I'll just say on a closing note that if you're on the fence and you're still on the fence after hearing all of this, reach out. Message some people on Discord if you're not on Discord, Facebook. If you're trying to get into it and you're having problems finding stuff, or you're just feeling overwhelmed, shoot me a message and I'll be happy to help and point you in any directions of the many resources I found helpful.
For sure. Yeah, and that goes for pretty much any of us here, and much of the community too. Most people are pretty helpful when it comes to acquiring things. And again, Heroscapers.com, like, wonderful resource to research things as well. All right. So with that, then, I guess we will close down this main topic discussing to C3V or not to C3V, and I think all of us are in agreement that you really should, even if it's a little bit, get some C3V. All right. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so now we're going to be shutting down. Oh my goodness, my mind tonight. I don't know what's going on. It's probably the lack of sleep. It's probably the lack of sleep. Hold on. Okay, but before we finish the live stream tonight, I do have one comment from Laugh's live stream, and this might be familiar to someone here, but this comes from Gbizzy. I don't know if I know who this guy is. Anyway, so Cody says here, props to Dom for just going for it at such a young age. Keep at it, man. Yeah, Dom Predator out there, Dominic out there. Yeah, it was wonderful just talking with them last stream. Heroscape Adventure is something I've wanted out of this game for a long time. Great work, Joe. I have a few things I plan on implementing in my games, including some gold wound markers as loot to purchase equipment, mercenaries the party can hire, and maybe even some large-scale battles the party works up towards after multiple sessions. Imagine Helm's Deep, oh yes, Siege of Gondor, Battle of Five Armies, etc., etc., etc. Someone is a Lord of the Rings person, I think. Possibly.
Ryan, the first adventure map I have behind me, which I'll be showing off soon in the groups. After I built it, I realized how much it resembled Dol Guldur from the Hobbit series. Gandalf and the elves, and actually it's going to be elves in a party going to fight some evil. So you'll see the resemblance once I post that.
There you go. All right, and let's see. I'm gonna get the last paragraph here. Thank you for coming out to the tournament, Joe. Without dedicated scapers willing to travel every now and then, there would be no events. For those of you out there that haven't been to an event in person, I can't recommend it enough. Heroscapers are a great hang. Yeah, I know ScapeCon for me. I know ScapeCon is kind of like the Super Bowl of Heroscape events, but that was basically the first Heroscape tournament that I went to, and my goodness, was it draining! But it was definitely something that I don't regret going to, and I think a small tournament is something that I have to do sometime down the road in the future. To interact with more people, to get better at my game, which it definitely needs improvement. But yeah, I really agree with that when it comes to I mean, it's great to start here with Heroscape and just play with friends and family, whatever, but the tournaments, whether it's at your local game shop or ScapeCon or Hexicon, it's another level. It's definitely another level, and it's not just playing the game and learning to play the game against different opponents, but it's also you get to recognize the community and interact with the community more there, and that sense of community, especially nowadays, where you have a lot of IPs, a lot of IPs within pop culture, they're just getting so degraded. They're degraded down. Everybody's neck and neck against each other. And at least, I mean, right now, I know AOA caused some controversy, but right now, the Heroscape community, I think, is starting to band together more than ever. And I mean, it's one of the things that they said when AOA failed was they said just keep on playing the game, and so that's what we're going to do. Absolutely, we're going to do. And as a community, keep on playing, keep on expanding, using our own wit and know-how. So yeah, for sure. For sure. So, anything else you wanted to add to that, Cody? That comment, because of course that was Cody's comment. So,
Yeah, to the people out there that haven't been to a tournament, don't be scared by that word. Herescapers, although there are plenty of guys out there and gals that are competitive and really good at this game, those same people are very welcoming, and Herescape is hugely mixed skill. I mean, you have people that just show up to have fun. You have people that show up and they want to win every tournament. But Mark, if he's still here, the last tournament that we had in Salisbury, or the first Mars tournament we had in Salisbury, was his first like real one. And you know, he can't wait to go back to the next one. I think he is coming to the one in College Park on next Saturday. So it's an addicting experience. So be ready to go to a bunch more if you do go to one.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm attest to that. I mean, after EscapeCon, I went to 2 in Massachusetts, and I'll be going to my second one in Maryland. So, 3-hour drive for me. It is addicting. I'm super stoked. I can't wait. Everybody that I've participated, each event I went to, like, everyone's just so much fun to be around. I love being around you guys. It's such a Hero Escapers are like, I feel everybody's in the room for like the one purpose to play Heroscape, and like you have this passion for the game, like you can just feel it. You walk in the room and you just feel it. So fun. even if you're going up against somebody that knows the game 10 times more than you, they are so welcoming to defeat you. They're just so happy to shake your hand and go, good game.
Yeah, and every single person that walks through the door to an event, like, they get the warmest welcome ever. Everyone's like, "Oh, who are you? Like, where are you coming from? What's your name on Heroscapers? What army did you bring?" It's just like you said, it's just pure like love of the game, and everyone's got it, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy, would you concur? Jeremy, I see if Jeremy's still on board. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just listening.
Right.
Yeah, the events are really well done. And I can understand like travel, because I can only really. I went to EscapeCon because Ryan invited me to go with him, and then I enjoyed myself there. So I'm going to try to make it this year. Definitely have plans to make it this year, but that's like usually the only one I can plan for. But at some point, I do want to try to see, because like I was working on trying to do it like a small local group and stuff like that, but because the game store owner that I was playing Heroscape at, he knew what Heroscape was, and he said he used it for like BattleTech. I think that's what the game was. Like
BattleTech. No, I've played BattleTech on Heroscape. It's awesome.
Yeah, he uses Heroscape tiles for BattleTech at his own place, so he was like very familiar. And then when I was like telling him about how AOA was, they were trying to bring back and all this stuff, yeah, he got pretty excited too. So I will say Heroscape is such an easy conversation to have with people. Like you can really find a lot of. You'll be surprised how many people play it, have known about it, heard about it in the past. Like one game store owner told me that's what got him into Dungeons and Dragons was Heroscape. Things like that. Like it's out there. It's just we're all kind of scattered at the moment. But I think the more you talk about it, the more you share, your games online and you talk about it with your friends, you're gonna notice like it's a really good like conversation, and you'll find a lot of people that will want to talk about it or learn more about it. So
absolutely,
then we'll see what In Carmine meant in the Discord about trying again, because he did say that in the Discord. So
Yes, that is. Yep.
we're all wondering.
We're
what that-
we're looking for more confirmation to that, than just before giving a lot of information.
Just that
on
one
that.
line,
But
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, we need more. But yeah, for sure. And when it comes to the tournaments and me in the community, take this. I am take this from someone who I'm a very shy person, believe it or not, extremely shy person. Yeah, Joe looks at me like, "Are you kidding?" Yeah, Joe, you didn't know me 20 some years ago. I was horribly shy, and I'm still I just like to back into a corner and just by myself. But no,
I was the same way.
Yeah.
I was the same way. Back in high school, I was very quiet, very quiet.
Yeah.
Same, honestly.
So, it allows you to open up. To get that sense of community, it's very important. And let's see. I got a couple comments here in the chat. Arable says, "Have yet to go to an event, just very difficult in the EU." And Arable, my advice to you is, and I don't know if you can, but there are online Heroscape tournaments too that you can get online. So try and check those out. So at least you can join up and play competitively via online. I think even Sir Heroscape is doing online tournaments currently that you can join. So if that's a little bit simpler of solution. Of course, would love to have you in the States if it's ever possible. ScapeCon or whatever. Yeah, just make plans, Arable, and it would be lovely to meet you in the future if that's possible. Rogue Idealist says same. I think this is what we were saying earlier. Rogue Idealist says, I'm hoping to go to one by next year when it comes to tournament. For sure. Chad Paris says tournaments are great. The Utah scene and the recently revived Colorado scene are really fun. And it's good that things are reviving too with this. Yes, absolutely. All right. So with that, how about we close down this this podcast for the night? I think we had a really great discussion through all of this, and it's great having you guys on board tonight. So how about we close out, and we'll do so what we usually do when we end these, Cody, is basically you shout out who you are, if there's any place where people can contact you, and your final thoughts for the night. So how about we start first with yourself, Cody. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so you can find me on Discord or Heroscapers, Gbizzy, or the Facebook group, of course. I don't really have any personal plugs. I've been talking to Joe about, maybe developing some type of content in the future, just as for fun. Because I do post a lot of pictures. I probably have 1,500 or 2,000 pictures just on my phone of pictures I've taken Heroscape related. I post some. But I do want to plug a couple people that helped me along the way, my VC journey. And I talked to them to make sure it was cool to shout them out. So the first one is Chris Goff he's on the Heroscapers Facebook page. He makes all the bases and stickers that I got were from him. They're really high quality. The stickers look as close as anything I've seen to the original base stickers. They look great. Him and his wife do that together. And then Nicholas Thornton, he makes, again, I think the best quality cards. I think he can print out the OG cards, but I got strictly VC cards from him, and they're waterproof. They feel even more heavy duty than the original cards. Double-sided also. And the print shop he gets them from will even, if you order enough, they'll even cut them for you for a small fee. So definitely recommend checking those two guys out. Without them, it would have definitely been a little bit more of a struggle to pull me into the VC realm. But I still would have done it, but I would have been a little more reluctant. So I definitely recommend checking those two guys out.
Yeah, I'm actually in contact with Nicholas for getting cards. So yeah, already. So
Ben Earl Sandwich messaged me today, and he said he was looking for something. He's like, "Hey, have you talked to Nicholas?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the guy I ordered my stuff from. Highly recommend." So yeah, he's gonna be busy.
for sure. And any final thoughts?
gonna be Gbizzy.
for this podcast.
I was waiting for someone to say that.
G Rizzy, is that what you?
Gbizzy.
I was gonna introduce myself as that, but I didn't want to pull a tabletop bro. Yeah.
Is that what that is now? Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Oh boy.
Riz.
He's made a bigger impact than he thought.
Yeah.
We all learned Riz from Tabletop Bro.
Yeah, I'm way too old. And Ben Harris there in the chat. I am going to read your chats in a second. So keep on. Yeah, you might have showed up late, but I see you. I recognize you. Just give us a minute. All right. So any final thoughts, Cody, on the podcast?
No, I think we did a really great job on covering some stuff. I hope we win some people over for sure. I've been trying to spread the word of C3V as much as or VC in general as much as I can, and the event I hosted last month was a VC inclusive event, and I plan to continue that. In every event, I plan on including VC in. I see no reason not to, as Joe said earlier. It's Heroscape, same to me as the OG is.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the panel tonight with us, for sure. And yeah, try to get back on in the future for sure as well. All right, Joe, go ahead.
Well, I think I've said my piece about the VC stuff, so I'm good with that. This week, for the channel, I will say, tomorrow night, I got a stream on Twitch. I'm gonna be playing this VR game called Breachers. I'm looking forward to playing that. It was on alpha for a while, and now it's finally came out. Imagine Rainbow Six Siege in VR. So it's really high on my list to play. So I'm gonna be playing that. I'm working on an edit for the second Massachusetts event. Battle video, so that'll be coming out this next coming weekend, and then I'll be in Maryland on Saturday. So if you're thinking about going, don't think about it, just come. Don't think about it, just build an army and get your butt over there to play against me. And
I need a rematch from last time.
You do. I hope we do get matched up.
Bring some fourth mass against them. Bring some fourth mass.
Amazing.
Well, it's a Delta event. Fourth mass are like 105 points a squad in Delta.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
You probably won't see them.
Good. Whatever. But yes, so don't forget, I am not crazy. I'm Joe Crazy, and I yield my time. Thank you.
All right, Jeremy, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I mean, pretty much echoing what has been said on the podcast is that I think C3V is definitely worth some attention if you have a chance to check it out. Even small steps count. I mean, don't feel like you have to get all of the new waves from 14 to 28. Like, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to go through. But check the books. We've talked about books in the past on Heroscapers.com. Go, check the books out. See what characters link up with your favorites and classic. Start from there. And
if you're watching this on YouTube, links in the description below. For the books. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely, you can start with Van Nessing. I'm not biased at all because I definitely didn't write his bio or anything like that, so I don't have very particular reasons why you should try Van Nessing first. But no, any option, any good starter option, is definitely start from what you enjoy first from the game, and then look at what connects to the custom units, and then work from there. And just kind of watch other people play it, because I'm pretty sure it definitely in the tournaments and stuff like that and shows. There's a lot of people that are much more familiar with those units, so it's really cool to watch them play them and see them in action. And yeah, a lot of cool opportunities there, for sure. Definitely enjoy seeing the progress being made on those units. Even I mean, what we're talking about, 12 years after the fact, that's still pretty cool to see. The ongoing work and progress on that, and yeah. I don't. Right now, I did end up taking a quick break from creating anything. This last week, I was weird job changes, so I was like, all right, time to figure things out. But right now, I am currently working on playing the demo for a game called Not Only Nine. So that's what I've been making content. I posted on TikTok and went live on Twitch with it. There's a creator on YouTube I used to follow like years ago. He became game dev, and he took 2 years to make this game, and now he's going to try to get it out by the end of next year. But he posted a demo on Steam, and so he's actually said he's watching every single person who plays and posts something on it because he wants like feedback. And so if you ever do want to help out with the game dev process, it's called Not Only Nine. You play a little cat. And it's kind of adorable. But like there's a whole plot to it that like it'll flip you on your head. You'll be like, this is supposed to be a cat game, right? And he swears it's a cat game. Trust me, it's a lot more than a cat game. But it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So he's definitely looking for any feedback on that game that you might have. Other than that, definitely I got some plans to see if I could work on another custom bio for Anna, since she doesn't actually have any in-game lore right now. So I might be working on that this week, and you might see me go live with that, because I've taken it upon myself to see if I was making the character bios for these characters, how would I write them in the world of Heroscape? Because they definitely, they should have got that, and I'm sad they didn't. But I'm gonna do it now, so better late than never, I guess. But yeah, other than that, that's just pretty much everything from me. Glad I had a chance to talk with Gbizzy. Gbizzy, is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I gotcha. It's good. I know your name from a lot of the discussions in the AOA server, but now it's cool to be able to talk to you in person. So thank you for coming to the show, and it's always fun to be able to talk about Heroscape. Keep that relevant, keep that franchise relevant for as long as possible, because it's awesome to be able to talk about it again. I'm so happy. So yeah, everything from me, and I yield my time.
Alrighty, and let me get the last couple chats here. Let's see here. Ben Harris says, "When in quotations, when you sit down in the chair, you've already won." And this one comes to tournament play, and I know exactly what it's talking about. I mean, actually, yeah, you find that most of the time, yeah, if you're sitting, like if you start sitting down, you're gonna stand up, and then you're gonna stay up, basically, almost the whole time you're playing. Yeah. Let's see here, and he said, "Oh well, showed up too late. Not too late enough to where I'm still reading this. Yes, tell that College Park punk to run VC in his tournament. Wink. Let's see here.
Oh, wait, you said that's Ben Harris, so Dadscaper.
Yeah, that's yeah. Dadscaper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yep. Let's see here, yes, Ben says, "Sorry I didn't get to see Jeremy's handsome beard tonight." Yeah, we're having technical difficulties with some of our panel here. I mean, Jason couldn't get in at all, and Jeremy's video couldn't get on. But you know what? We still power through this stuff. So, yeah, no. Thank you, Dadscaper, for joining us in the chat. So anyway, all right. So I will close this podcast out and say, yes, I'm Ryan, Tales of Valhalla. I, of course, help run this podcast on Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel, as well as the past, it's been like 10 years, creating the stop motion Heroscape adventure based on the game. Centered mostly on the Airborne Elite, but we got characters from all over. Have 2 full seasons of Tales of Valhalla: The Aftermath Chronicles on the YouTube channel, and currently finishing season 3, and I'm working on the last 3 episodes simultaneously. And so at this point, I've been saying in the last few live streams, this is the day that I would know whether or not I'm going to be releasing these episodes, and I can tell you it's going to be delayed. Because at this point, I was planning to start working on the music, and everything else should have been done, and then on to music. But I'm not at that point yet. I'm still working on sound effects, and it's just incredible the amount of sound effects that I have to put into these episodes. So it's still probably going to be a few more weeks. So instead of early May releasing these, it's probably going to be closer to the end of May. But I will know as soon as I start getting that music edited. Then I'll know, because I know how long that should take to do, and so hopefully it's end of May, get this stuff released, and it's going to be like nearly an hour. Like these 3 episodes combined, it's going to be an hour of some of the most fantastic Heroscape animation that you have ever seen. So wait a little bit longer, it's coming. Anyway. Thank you everybody into the chat, commenting. Thank everybody who's watching this later on, who supports, who likes, subscribes, who listens via audio. Join the Discord. We do have a Discord, Tales of Hell Discord online. Of course, links in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. Start playing the game. Start getting involved. Start doing something. Get interested in lore. Just it's a fantastic thing to get into. Glad to have you all here. And until next time, of course, you have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.